I'm not a pessimist. I've always had a great deal of faith in people, that we wouldn't succumb to frenzy or rage or greed, that we figure out a solution without destroying the things that we love.
The Subcommittee on Energy and Minerals will now come to order.
There are numerous deep shale gas basins in the United States which contain trillions of cubic feet of natural gas.
In fact, North America's natural gas supply is so plentiful it has been described recently by some experts as a virtual ocean of natural gas. We believe the potential from these 4 major shale basins is enormous, and it is a game changer not only for America's natural gas industry, but also potentially for our nation, our economy, and our environment.
I'm here today representing the 30 member states of the Interstate Oil and Gas Compact Commission, who produce 99% of our domestic oil and gas. Studies and surveys by GWPC, EPA, and IOGCC over the last 11 years have found no real credible threat to underground drinking water from hydraulic fracturing.
Recently, however, there has been concern raised about the methods to tap these valuable resources. Technologies such as the practice of hydraulic fracturing have been characterized as environmentally risky and inadequately regulated. Press reports and websites alleging that 6 states have documented over 1,000 incidents of groundwater contamination resulting from the practice of hydraulic fracturing. Such reports are not accurate.
And it's my firmly held view, and also that of IOGCC, that the subject of hydraulic fracturing is adequately regulated by the states and it needs no further study.
Thank you for this opportunity to provide an overview.
Thank you.
Thank the committee. Thank you.
And thank you, always.
You don't know what you just thanked him for.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Josh Fox. Maybe I'll start at the beginning. This is Dick Cheney. No. Maybe I'll start at a different beginning. This is my house. It's in the middle of the woods, tucked away on a dirt road in a place called Milanville, Pennsylvania. The house was built in 1972 when I was born. My parents and their hippie friends built it, and my family and my brothers and sisters and I grew pretty much the same way I did, little by little. There's a stream that runs down the property, connects to the Delaware River. I've been learning more and more about how water is all connected. In 1972, the year I was born, Pete Seeger and a bunch of banjo-playing freaks in the Upper Hudson Valley reminded New York City that if they polluted the Upper Hudson, especially the watershed areas, that New York City's drinking water would be ruined.
This land was made for you and me.
In 1972, Richard Nixon signed the Clean Water Act into law. It was an era of environmental progress. The Cold War was on, but there was the concept of leisure time and leisure suits. Computers and technology were supposed to bring about the 4-day work week, and everyone was going to have plenty of time romping around the fields and swimming in the rivers. In New York City, they were building this, but 100 miles upriver in Milanville, Pennsylvania, on the banks of the Delaware, we were building this. My first word was hammer. But it's 2009. One day I got a letter in the mail. It was from a natural gas company. The letter told me that my land was on top of a formation called the Marcellus Shale, which stretched across Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, and West Virginia, and that the Marcellus Shale was the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. I could lease my land to this company, and I would receive a signing bonus of $4,750 an acre. Having 19.5 acres, that was nearly $100,000, right there in my hand. Could it be that easy? You've probably seen ads on television hailing natural gas as the clean-burning transition fuel.
American shale basins contain an ocean of natural gas.
What I want is to use our resources in America. It's cheaper and it's ours. It's ours.
What would it mean if the United States and the rest of the world adopted natural gas as the fuel of the future?
We've cracked the code for natural gas supply.
And what I didn't know was that the 2005 energy bill pushed through Congress by Dick Cheney exempts the oil and natural gas industries from the Safe Drinking Water Act. They were also exempt from the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the Superfund Law, and about a dozen other environmental and democratic regulations. And when the 2005 energy bill cleared away all the restrictions, companies like Encana, Williams, Cabot Oil and Gas, and Chesapeake began to use the new Halliburton technology, and they began the largest and most extensive domestic gas drilling campaign in history, now occupying 34 states. The method of gas drilling they use is called hydraulic fracturing, or fracking. It blasts a mix of water and chemicals 8,000 feet into the ground. The fracking itself is like a mini earthquake. The intense pressure breaks apart the rock and frees up the gas. In order to frack, you need some fracking fluid, a mix of over 596 chemicals, from the unpronounceable to the unknown to the too well-known. The brew is full of corrosion inhibitors, gelants, drilling additives, biocides, shale control inhibitors, liquid breaker aids, viscosifiers, liquid gel concentrates. On the side of that frac fluid truck, it should say, just add water. Each time they drill a well, they need between 1 and 7 million gallons of water. Each time they go back and frac an existing well, they need an additional 1 to 7 million gallons of water. They can frac a well up to 18 times in its life. They started out west, New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, Wyoming, Oklahoma, and in the south, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama. 450,000 wells, times 18, times 1 to 7 million gallons, is something like 40 trillion gallons of water, all of it infused with the 596 chemicals in the fracking fluid. And now they're coming east. They're proposing 50,000 gas wells along a 75-mile stretch of the Delaware River and hundreds of thousands more across New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia. From 1972 until now, my whole life, all this has been protected.
You may dial it at any time. Yes, may I take a message?
Okay, sure. This is Josh Fox. I'm looking to see if we could interview someone on the subject of natural gas extraction, hydraulic fracturing.
The best thing to do would be to send an email with your request. Halliburton Corporate Affairs.
Did I just talk to you?
Hi, this is Scott Halliburton. How can I help you? Record your message at the tone.
I'd love to find somebody to interview at Halliburton. So if you'd please call me back, I'd really appreciate it.
Williams. Please leave a voice message for... Thank you for calling Chesapeake Energy Corporation, the nation's leading producer of natural gas. Okay,
What's 405 area code?
Oklahoma.
I'd be interested to see if there's any way to get an interview with T-Boone Pickens, to see if there was any possibility of...
Okay, well, I'm going to have to transfer you to... You've reached Cabot Oil and Gas.
Please leave a name and I will return your call.
After the tone, please record your message.
Who is the audience for this?
General public.
I think we'll decline, but thanks for calling.
Now, I'm not sure how many of you have direct experience with streams. When I was growing up, we could run up and down the stream for miles, for hours and hours on end. I mean, the moment the stream takes a bend, you can walk 10 paces and look back and it looks like a different place. This is a place I know. It's a place that runs through my mind. And it's always there. It feels to me like it's the source of all life. And it is. You need water for life. The closest they were drilling to me was in a place called Dimmock, Pennsylvania, about 40 miles from the New York-Pennsylvania border in the Susquehanna River Basin. A company called Cabot Oil and Gas from out of Houston I drilled over 40 wells in just under a few months. It's a small place with no major highways, a place where you could easily forget the world, forget yourself, disappear completely. I was going there because I'd heard a lot of complaints, and because I'd heard the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection had said that everything was going fine. The story of Dimmick starts with a frantic series of distress calls from Pat Farnelli. If Dimmick had a town square, she'd be standing in the middle shouting for help.
Everywhere there's a gap in the trees, there's a well. There's like 10. Sometimes it bubbles and hisses when it comes out. So I highly recommend that you do.
You want to drink it?
I won't drink it. When Cabot and them came in to get the water and they were telling me it was okay to drink, I said, well, here, go ahead and drink it. And they wouldn't drink it. There were days when 4 kids were out of school sick. Everybody was sick, including me. We were all, our stomachs were really, really acting up, couldn't handle eating anything for over a month, right? And then Jean, next door, talked to me at church and said, did you notice anything funny about your water? Our well's gone bad. The Mays, they have bad water, and they've got a newborn in the house.
My next trip was just up the road to Ron and Jean Carter's. They had a gas well in their front yard. Shortly after the well was drilled, their water started bubbling and fizzing. It turned out to be natural gas.
I told them that I wasn't happy, that our water was good before they started drilling, and when they got done, it was bad. We said, asked if we could prove that it was because of them. And my wife asked the guy if he could prove that it wasn't. He wouldn't talk to her anymore. We lived here 40 years, and the water never had a problem with the water. And they drilled. After they drilled, the water was bad.
My next trip was just up the street. Norma Fiorentino's water well exploded on New Year's Day.
You're kidding. This is my daughter-in-law calling. She's saying there's a special on at noon.
DEP says Cabot Oil and Gas has polluted more than a dozen water wells drilling for natural gas in Susquehanna County.
I've lived next to these people for 30 or 40 years, and we're good friends, all of us, and we just have the same problem.
DEP, Cabot guys were out here, and I was talking to them about it, and I says, you guys said this water's safe for my mother to drink. I said, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get you a glass of water. And they all put their head down, DEP and everybody put their head down and said they wouldn't drink it.
Mason, where's your helmet?
Next up on my tour of Dimmick was Debbie May.
No helmet, no bike, understand? Anthony, you should have a helmet on too. Go find one. And in the beginning of November, our water turned color. It had started tasting funny, like a metallic-y, and then it turned brown, and then it looked like mud. Cabot sent Quantum Labs out to test it, and the guy looked at it and said, don't drink it, don't shower in it, don't do your laundry, don't do dishes, don't do anything in it. And they
so this is your water well down under there.
Mm-hmm. And they put that pipe thing on it.
And they're venting gas off through this.
Yeah.
The other thing that was bothering Debbie May, was something that was happening with her animals.
Sorry, they don't come outside.
Their hair was falling out.
See how she's gone bald.
And one of her cats was projectile vomiting.
We have 3 cats that it's happening to.
And then when you said this to the DEP, what did they tell you?
They told me I clean with too much Lysol.
Uh-huh.
And I told one of Cabot's attorneys about it, and he told me that it comes from telephone poles.
So has the cat been out playing with the telephone poles?
The cat doesn't go outside ever.
So his hair's falling out?
Yeah. And he's losing weight.
Since basically the same period of time?
Hi. Our water was perfectly fine. And like right after we started drilling, like propane and stuff like that all went in it. But at one point we could actually like light it on fire. Put the thing in, shake it up in the jug, and put a match around and just light up.
What's going to happen to my kids how many years from now? You know, and then, oh, well, it wasn't their fault. You know, they didn't do it. They didn't pollute the water.
From the cases of Pat, Ron and Jean, Norma and Debbie, it was clear that something had gone terribly wrong in Dimmick. But there was something else. I kept hearing reports of a family that could supposedly light their water on fire, a family who wasn't speaking to the press. I wondered why, and I wondered if I could talk my way in. They didn't want their faces to be on camera, So I ended up taking pictures of their feet. They did show me their water samples, however. They told me, listen, I know you want to see us light our water on fire, but we can't do it right now. Basically, we've capped our water well. We no longer use it, and we're afraid to turn it on. If we turn it on,